I don't believe AI would replace agents or the whole process.
And what I feel right now is that human will buy from AI.
Because where you are a sector agnostic investor, you need to know a bit about everything. However, it's difficult to really dive deep into any specific sector or industry. Not many developers use those data-driven solutions.
They become to be sometimes more efficient than people with a lot of experience.
Yeah, which is an important aspect of the construction process.
Very difficult,
where it's difficult to agree on the progress.
It's difficult to explain people how data move around, so today it's so simple that in a second, what you see on the site can be in your smart contract.
Exactly.
I'm not sure world is ready for this transparency.
I think we are still yet somehow apart from process, but that's certainly the way where we should be going.
When this transition will happen, when everyone will use it, I think it will change the world significant. Yes. How do you see the next 5 years in the real estate? Hi everyone. Today we again have a serene podcast. I'm very happy to meet very interesting guest. It's Mike from PropTech Farm.
Hi Oleg, great to be here.
Great to see you again. We meet last week on the PropTech conference in Bangkok, yes. And it was really because I'm a guy from more Phuket business, and for me it was very interesting to see all of these PropTech leaders, right? Yeah. And thank you for coming to me today.
Thank you for the invitation. It's great to be here. Welcome everyone. I'm Mike Plichta with PropTech Farm VC Fund, and it's great to be here. I look forward to our conversation today.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Can you tell a little bit more about yourself? Usually I start my podcast with the 3 zones. Yeah. Zone number one is the past, then present, and then future, right? Can you tell a little bit more about yourself and how you come to this business?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, my background is in finance. I studied corporate finance in Europe. I'm Polish, but I moved to Asia 4 years ago. And like we quickly discussed offline before, my passion has always been with technology, and I assembled my first personal computer at the age of 12. So with financial education and passion for IT, I was looking for ways how to work on the frontier of new technologies. So after a quick work in a consulting company in Europe, I decided to pursue venture capital career. And I've been doing VC investments for over 10 years now, first at seed and early growth stage funds in Europe, then at a largest European energy corporate VC established by a company called E.ON. Now they invest under Future Energy Ventures Mark. And that was in particular where I got interested in strategic investments in technologies for real estate. Because where you are a sector agnostic investor, you need to know a bit about everything. However, it's difficult to really dive deep into any specific sector or industry. And with Innogy's corporate VC fund, we were investing into the future of energy and business and building businesses because, well, buildings consume around 40% of energy, are responsible for that much greenhouse gas emissions. So for this investment fund, it was about building future business line for the next 15, 20 years. And my role was to look for interesting technology solutions around built environment in Europe, Middle East, UK, and to help them grow by connecting with relevant companies. So I was also working closely with our portfolio after the first selection and investment phase at post-investment business development support. And that was when I also built relationship with a real estate agency and professional consultancy company, Colliers, where I joined them first in Europe to lead their PropTech advisory. And for Colliers, it was interesting to lead the technology change and adoption of new technology startups, especially during COVID pandemic's time. It was super interesting because, well, a lot of tenants were downsizing, landlords were looking for ways how to keep them in the building. Then people were also a bit afraid in terms of health and safety measures. Managers were looking for occupancy measures to select what's the right size of my office these days, where a lot of businesses turned online and it was quite clear that not every company will return to the old way of working 5 days a week in the office. It might be a hybrid model. It might be online, 2 versus 3 or 3 versus 2, different models for different companies. So with Colliers, I was working directly with real estate professionals, developers, and tenants on implementing the best technology solutions for their offices. And examples might include desk occupancy analysis, IoT solutions, which was measuring how much time people spend at their desk and what's the utilization of a conference room, to provide better information to the admin manager of how the office is being used. Then we also implemented a smart building platform where there was one platform for all the IT interactions with the building, which allowed you for booking your office room or the desk, invitation of guests, external guests with QR code, automatic approval without the need for standalone registration desk, smart parking solutions, integration with lift dispatch system, BMS in a building. So it was like a very comprehensive platform for smart building. And then with Colliers, I moved to Singapore because I wanted to learn more about this fascinating Asian market. Mm-hmm. I moved here with my wife, so it was our common decision. At that time, she had already been connected to the Singaporean ecosystem, so we moved together. And the role with Colliers was similar at that point, also looking for interesting solutions, although focusing more on the property management side. As property management is a very interesting piece of business, but also a difficult one with very often low margins. And
a lot of variables, right?
Yes,
a lot of different
variables,
things.
difficult unit economics.
Yeah.
But then if you can implement technology solution that would allow you to improve those unit economics, decrease cost, or provide additional value to your client, then it might be a win-win. And where I started to explore Southeast Asian market, I came across a venture capital fund, PropTech Farm, which now I'm a part of. And that fund had originated in Sweden, was established by a gentleman.
It's very interesting. My business partner, he's also from Sweden.
Oh, that's great.
So that's why, interesting.
Yeah, and the fund at that point had been established in Sweden by a gentleman called Fredrik Bergman. And at that point in time, he already had his first fund up and running in Sweden, establishing second one for Europe, and looking to start a third structure, but the very first one dedicated for Southeast Asia, because he's been in the region for 20 years or more. And we also teamed up with another professional, seasoned business angel and experienced entrepreneur, a gentleman called Simon Baker, whom you met at the conference, and he organized PPW. And together we decided to team up to create this venture capital fund dedicated to Southeast Asian region. So this is PropTech Farm Fund 3, because it's third in the family, but the first one for Southeast Asia.
Okay, sounds wonderful. It's very, it's amazing introduction. I see that you can do it easily. You do it many times to introduce your business. But why it's called PropTech Farm? It's like you making you feel it like a farm that you will have many different.
We are growing startups. We are helping startups to grow. So that's our mission, and we are building these farms around the world. So we have 2 in Europe already. Then the third one is in Asia. We have plans for Latin America in the near future, Middle East, possibly the US in a bit further.
Looks like you choose Southeast Asia, one of the first, because you see a lot of potential in this region, right?
Yes, the potential is amazing. Like there is 600 million people in the region. There is a variety of countries, and it's like a very healthy mix of different kinds of economies, where you have countries that are developing, countries that are already well developed, and countries that are super integrated in the global economy like Singapore, right? And at the same time, the growth rates are very interesting and much higher when you compare it to such a well-developed markets as Europe or the US, which are more stagnant. And there is also this macroeconomic factor where, especially in these days when there is a lot of uncertainty with tariff wars, with macroeconomic tension between the US, Russia, Europe, China, being in Southeast Asia it's somehow positive, because you are on a side track from those most vibrant macroeconomic winds.
So as far as I understand, Singapore is one of the most important city in this region, right? In terms of tech, right?
Yeah, it is well developed. I would probably not definitely call it the most important because the amount of innovation and potential I see in Bangkok, for example, it's amazing. Singapore is obviously very, very well connected to international economies, and that's also why we decided to domicile our fund, as we are headquartered in Singapore, to use it excellent legislative features and the legal framework. So it gives also a lot of comfort to our investors. But then out of Singapore, we operate in the 6 largest economies in Southeast Asia, being Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, and Singapore.
Okay.
We also have an investment opportunity, and we are looking for a startup in Australia, ANZ region as well.
Wow, it will be also under the same fund, right?
Yeah, so it's under the same fund. In our strategy, we cover Southeast Asia and Australia, as we also have partners there. Simon comes out of Australia. He was leading REA Group, which is a multi-billion-dollar company listed on Australian Stock Exchange. So we have good knowledge and good knowledge of the local ecosystem.
When you move from Europe, like to Southeast Asia, do you see the big difference in the markets in general, right? Because it's here everything just start, right? In Europe, it's I think all of the markets are settled. Everyone understands rules of the games and stuff like this. And here is
there is difference that's for sure. And another important and interesting point where I compare local markets in Southeast Asia to Europe or the US is the fragmentation. Like each market is much more different, and there is no European Union or not one currency like euro or the dollar in the other economies. Each country has its own history, culture, language, religion sometimes, and you need to have very good knowledge of the local ecosystem and conditions in order to be successful at doing businesses. That's why we also work closely with local partners and people who are on the ground and who've been working in the innovation ecosystem here in Thailand, and then in Vietnam, then in Indonesia, in Singapore. So we build these local partnerships to really be part of the innovation community in each of those markets. And at the same time, I believe that it's a very strong competitive edge of entrepreneurs doing businesses here because they are very well established in the region, and they have this competitive advantage of understanding particularities of local markets. Whereas if it's a company based in New York or London and just want to start from the scratch here, it's much more difficult.
Yeah, of course. And what is main innovations do you see? Because it's also I read the book Innovation Dilemma, right? Yeah. Because it's always complicated to implement something new, and all of the like properties. It's very conservative market, like it's for more than 100 years, many things is not changed. Concrete is still concrete, like materials is still materials, workers is still workers. So can you tell us a little bit more what's innovations today is one of the main game changers? Of course, everyone speak about AI, and AI, I think mainly at this moment affect mainly communication between people. It's a first thing. But how, like what is something innovating that we can implement in the construction or for example, maybe there is some another efficient things that we can do nowadays. What is the hot startups today?
So maybe for a start and a definition or understanding innovation, because we had this interesting discussion at our startup workshop last week at the PPW conference, is that for innovation, you don't actually need to be unique in terms of redefining or reinventing the wheel. Very often, if you take solutions that are well developed and tested on international markets in the US, Europe, China, and you see that there is a niche or a need for a similar solution in your home market, you can make a great business. It will be innovative in scope of a local market, and it's a win-win for everybody. So it can also be those solutions that already work at international scale. And coming to the point, what's hot? Well, definitely AI is hot as it is always. As it is at every industry, and real estate is not exception here. However, it comes down to a business case, like an actual implementation, because, well, AI is just another tool at the end of the day, and the way you put it to work, that what really matters. And also another crucial thing about AI, that it is as good as data it's been trained on and the data you feed it with. And during my work with corporate ecosystem in real estate, I've observed that very often there is a problem with data integration and really making the most of the synergies and application of the data.
Many times data chaos,
yes,
because
data chaos, or even data silos in corporate environment where each department does not have information or insights of what the other department is doing. So first and foremost, gathering and understanding this data is something which can bring enormous amount of value in the real estate sector. And we also had this quick conversation before that not many developers use those data-driven solutions, and really starting to pull everything into one central database that can provide you with insights and understanding of your client, customer, costs, efficiencies. That's something
most dangerous is the changes, because when you change one file, if you're not updated somewhere, so then whole process is become to be not correct, and especially in construction, and that's why BIM technology, it's something amazing that we have, but when this transition will happen, when everyone will use it, I think it will change the world significant.
Yes. And that's the challenge that the industry faces, and it's a long and cost-intensive process.
It's mainly a social problem, right?
Yeah.
It's not a problem in technologies, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's implementation.
Technology is there, so it's about implementation, finding the right use cases, and really making sure that at the end of the day, it's all about the user and the human, the person who uses the technology. So it's making sure that he or she feels comfortable and sees value in using it, because otherwise it would not make sense.
This is kind of, like one of the issue what we have right now. It's kind of revolutionary products, right? And what issues we have inside of our company is that, of course, we are happy to take some professionals from the industry, like who is doing it in the way how they did it past, whenever, 10, 20 years. But it's something new, and when they trying to use it, for them it's more comfortable to do to not change status quo, right? Like I said. So that's why what we are doing, we're trying to take a new people who is maybe been not in this industry before, but their mind is fresh. They don't really know how it works, and we can give them a new system. Same as I show you before. Like we do it a little bit different way, completely digital, and you need to have set of mindset to understand how to use it, right? And here is kind of something brand new that no one has before. And it's very interesting. And I see inside of my company is that today young people who can understand all of the tech devices or understand digital world, they become to be sometimes more efficient than people with a lot of experience.
Exactly.
And this is one of the kind of revolution ways us as humans need to probably go to next step, how to make this transition. But it will happen anyway, right? And that's why now it's a goal how to make these social changes, because it looks like in future everyone will be operators, kind of, right?
Yeah, and it's like with innovation adoption phases, it's the early adopters and the market leaders who win the most. And like in your case here with the adoption of digital technology for the project management and the sales process as well. Once you show the use cases and other market players sees the value, then they will be early followers or late adopters, and then they will follow based on the examples that are set in the market.
Yeah, and for example, for real estate, and especially for real estate construction, this require a lot of risk usually, because you're trying to do something new, but market tell you, hey, no, let's do as we do always, right? And then they kind of not against it, but they don't want to change what's work for them, right? Yeah. And I think exactly the same, because in my opinion, all of the real estate development is exactly like IT, because you need to build something that is still not there, that you need to find a vision, you need to understand how you will do it, you need to find either first investors or capital, right? You need to find a team so it's same as an IT startup.
Yes, but this way of thinking even itself is innovative. When you compare it, it's not like it's a standard that everybody thinks of.
But main problem
real estate
is
developers, IT development.
Yeah, main problem is if you look at the real estate developers, most of the time there is, as soon as you have an idea but you not test it and you think that market need it, but there's too difficult to make a changes on the way. If you go to architectural company and they tell you, yeah, here's your concept, you cannot change it. But let's say some company start to launch its sales and it doesn't work well, and then you kind of in situations and when you need to build something that people don't need, you not read the market, what's market belief, and then that's why it's a delayed signal in the end, if you understand what I mean, right?
Yep.
So that's
it's
why
like with lean startup, fail fast methodology, you need to adopt to the market feedback constantly.
Yeah, so that's why like for us also, we always try to kind of make a product and test it, see what market tell it to us. Maybe we need to make some changes. And for example, speaking about sustainability, right? And in 2020, when I launched one of our projects, right? Like I also believe that eco-friendly and sustainable features will help a lot to, especially, of course, it's a common sense to have. We all want to have real sustainable products, right? But main point is that it's what we get is that it's not give much impact for sales or something, and for marketing. Yes, people care about it, but when it go to investment, here is it's if we put eco-friendly project and let's say some other project, the added value is not there,
you need to look at added value. And I also spoke with many developers about implementation of different energy efficiency or sustainability solution. And the most important question always was, what's my ROI? It needs to be financially viable first and foremost. Then if it provides additional sustainability, energy efficiency, or carbon reduction solutions, that's great, but it needs to make sense from the economical perspective.
Yeah.
And maybe also coming back to your question on what's hot in the market, I can give you a few more examples based also on our investment strategy and how we are looking at PropTech ecosystem and PropTech solution. Because in our strategy, we are looking at the whole life cycle of a building. So we start with design and plan phase. And here, I can give you already an example of our first investment in Thailand in the design space in a company called Spacely. And they are doing interior AI designs. So you can take a photo of a room and then with an LLM model, ask it to create a design in Scandinavian, modern, retro, Cantonese style, whichever you prefer. And then in seconds, you receive a design and you can work with the model to change it and adjust it as you prefer. And this is a technology developed by a local startup here in Thailand, which is already doing very well in the local market and also expanding internationally to the US and Europe. And then after design and plan comes construction. And like we discussed, it's a super difficult and aspect of the process, especially since you have traditional or like analog features naturally involved. You still need to pour
conservative.
You still need to pour in cement. You still need to do all the construction works. However, what you can digitize, and that's an example of investment from our previous fund, was a company that analyzes video stream from a construction site, and then with AI can automatically recognize the progress
and give you a report, right?
Give you a report, and also you can use it to settle payments with your vendors, which is an important aspect of the construction process.
Very difficult,
where it's difficult to agree on the progress, like going over schedule is almost guaranteed in many cases. So when you can track it in real time based on camera feed and AI engines, that's really good value.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the product, but what in my head next stage, it's it's probably product with the contracts and all of the legal aspects, because usually one of the biggest issue for real estate developers when you're doing a lot of different vendors or suppliers, right? Then except the performance, you also have a legal agreements where you need to, this we need to pay at that stage or at that stage, and many times since it's construction, you cannot afford to wait one of the supplier because client expecting from you that you will deliver. So whatever happened in my business, it's in the end it's my face, like everyone expect me that I will have it. That's why sometimes in construction business some things paid up front and just to see how it will go and stuff like this. Of course, as soon as this can be one clear kind of like ERP system, I guess, right? But this is, I think it's difficult to explain people how data move around, so today it's so simple that in a second what you see on the site can be in your smart contracts,
with all the IoT solutions, plus, CCTV cameras, vision recognition systems.
Plus with your bank account, the transfer money straight away to the vendor, right? But this have to be the level of transparency. I'm not sure world is ready for this transparency.
I think we are still yet somehow apart from, and there needs to be more time for this end-to-end information and digitization of the process. But that's certainly the way where we should be going.
Yeah. This I also agree that it's supposed to be the plan, and we need to look at it. But what's about AI? Like today, what we discussed already is that it's mainly communication with people, because everyone look right now AI like a chatbot. What's about AI? Like today, what we discussed already is that it's mainly communication with people, because everyone look right now AI like a chatbot. Kind of, right? So,
and there are also interesting chatbot-based solutions with AI for real estate market, and there are companies also here in Thailand, which we know, which are developing super agents for developers, which are also an interesting solution.
Yeah, we implemented it also, and we work on it. And hi, Yuri and JP. It's also friends of mine, really cool guys. And also for me, it's me personally think I'm in the business, because I see all of the track of what's going on, and what I feel right now is that we are still not there that human will buy from AI 100%. But what is your opinion? How long time? Because in my opinion, it's all about trust. When we will trust AI, so that we can make a purchase and give our money to the AI assistant instead of human.
Yeah, so I don't believe AI would replace agents or the whole process end to end, but I believe it will be important tool that leverages agents' time and can support them in doing the job more efficiently. So it might turn out that one person is able to do the work of 10 people without AI-enabled solutions. So that's the way where I see the market going. And also, we need to be aware that as consumers, we are now more and more, there are more and more AI bots and agents speaking with us from every angle, be it if you want to
whatever industry, right?
Whichever industry, whether it be your bank, you first speak to AI, your travel agent, you speak to AI, your insurance company, you first speak to AI. So people also see this, and they see this personal touch by speaking with someone, with a real person, a human, as something important. And there was this saying back in the days where electricity was invented, that only the rich will burn candles. I believe that now only the rich, or only the most important aspects of transaction will be done with human agents, where it's additional value. And certainly buying the property is an important aspect of everyone, every person, every individual, which needs also this human touch to it.
Do you think is it also important to look at generational point? I mean, like a different generation. So we are kind of generation where there was no computers, and it's come the screens and all of these digital world, right? So, for example, my daughter right now 7, and I feel that for her is feel very comfortable in that world without any explanation, because she have full trust to it, right? So, and in this case, my opinion is that real world change when the new generation who already like Zoomers, right?
Yeah.
So for them, it will be only way how you can do it. Only way that you don't want to. Most of them don't want to speak with human.
Exactly, and in terms of, for example, taking a calls, because I've
Yes.
seen people spoke with people from younger generation that they say I don't like to speak over phone. I prefer to just chat on WhatsApp or just have this line connection and without. Burden of talking to someone. That's how they view it.
This is interesting change. Like we also see it inside of our business that some people with older generation, they have to speak. They not trust text
exactly.
and stuff.
And
like
for older generation, you need to have this contact over phone or even meet face to face.
Face to face, yeah.
So that's exactly changes generation by generation or person by person, and the proper sales strategy always requires first and foremost understanding of your customer and his customer journey and the way he prefers to receive information.
Yeah, but young generations they don't want it, and that's why it's a higher chance that this one will be fast. Because today, if we speak about probably you have more analytics and information. Who is the property buyer today in the world? What's age of the like in Europe, as far as I understand, this age has become to be older people start to afford to buy a property. People up to 40 plus buying it, right? Like they can afford it. Like, do you have any analytics of that? Who is
there are research. There is research about it, and like it comes down to your capital accumulation. And obviously, the older you get, the more time you have spent working, the more capital you have. However, it's the other important aspect is financial system and access to financial credit and mortgage. As very often in European countries, people age of 25 or 30 would buy their first property because they finished studies, they started their first well-paid job, and they are able to get a mortgage from a bank, and that's where they go to a developer and start to shop around to buy a property.
Yeah, because here in Asia it's also a lot of we're doing a lot of things by the mortgage, but it's possible only for locals. Like foreigners cannot get mortgage here, and I'm not sure that in Europe.
Yes, and when you look for cross-border transactions, those are a bit different profile because very often those would be investment type of investors who have already their first or second property in Europe or the States where they come from. And now they are looking for investment opportunity in interesting uprising markets like Southeast Asia here. And then their profile would be probably someone older than 40 or maybe around 50. So then you need to take this into consideration.
Yeah, you see, because we are based in Phuket right now, right? And in Phuket, for example, it's almost cash market. Yeah. It's not a bank market and loan market because mainly we stay in touristic place. Yeah. It's very simple to explain people. Look, there's a beautiful sea. Here's always will be tourists. Always will be residents who want to come here because of the climate and infrastructure and all of this stuff. But of course, when we speak about the young generation, many of them speak also, or maybe I don't need to own property at all.
That's also another trend, right? Because they more focus on renting rather than owning.
And then it's my question always come to my head, okay, but if this trend has happened, but the property will still exist, right? So it means today is very popular kind of subscription model everywhere. Why you need to own, you need to subscribe. And stuff like this, and that's many
life as subscription.
Life as a subscription. Yes, so that's how it works, and it's very interesting. But someone will own it. So in this case, probably it's impossible because many people say to me, "Okay, soon, young people will not buy from you, so you need to stop construction." But it's impossible. It still will be constructed, but it's a question who will own it. Looks like it's funds will own.
We can see at those examples in the States where renting is very popular and has been for many years already. in Europe, this market is also getting more and more traction, and even residential is being built for rent, resi for rent solutions. And in this case, property becomes a financial product, and then it's owned by a fund. It might be a pension fund, it might be investment fund. It's like a professional market in that sense, where you have an investment owner who simply purchases an asset with a given yield. And then you have professional property operators who take care of running the business. And it's also an interesting trend. And I believe there might be a lot of value building propositions in that. And then for people who do not wish to purchase or like feel rooted in a given place for too long time, they can rent it and work and live for several years in one place and then move to the other based on their job, especially in times where you have more and more career opportunities driven by digital solutions, where it's not longer necessary to be in a certain place because you are doing businesses in a region or globally. So also for this kind of digital nomads, it might be a compelling value proposition.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like I'm really happy to see all of those changes. It's very interesting what's going on. How do you see let's say, because usually we see companies as the first people who see the future best than others, right? Like, because you kind of,
or at least they pretend to, hope to.
And today you see what will happen. What is the scale today within 5 years? What do you think? Like, how world will looks in PropTech next 5 years? Looks like AI will be everywhere, right? So in communication with people, in construction, in many different, like B2B services usually, right? All of the inefficient things we can want, right? We can remove their own inefficiency, and then it will be everything clear. So how do you see the next 5 years in the real estate?
Yeah, so we need to be aware that sometimes the hot technologies or trends that seem unavoidable at some point turn out to slow down and maybe not be implemented as soon as everybody wished. An example might be metaverse and AR, VR, or NFT-based solutions.
Do you think AR is as a technology? Because 5 years ago it was very popular, but for now it's not that visible. Do you think
it was like on this typical Gartner adoption cycle.
I will show you. I have my app that we built 5 years ago with AR, and we kind of little bit use it that days when it was on hype. But right now, no one uses it again, because today.
Yeah, so I believe there needs to be a strong business case, value proposition, and users, people who want to use it, like with every technology. And here, AR or metaverse are no exception, and they will simply need to find the best solutions. And example might be 3D printing some time ago, right? It was also on the hype, then it went down, and now we see a lot of professional and very interesting solutions around 3D printing as well, up to the point that there are house or parts of house being 3D printed in the real estate industry as well. And for AI, it's specific because it's like a technology layer which can be adopted in various industries. And I like to think of it the way as I thought about internet some time ago. Like, do you use internet as a company? Well, everybody uses internet now, but it's not about internet itself, but about what you use it for. And it's like just another technology that you implemented to your businesses. And AI gives this solution, gives this opportunity, and the businesses and solutions that will be able to find a proper value proposition will win in the future. That's
amazing. Okay, thank you so much for this wonderful podcast. For me, I've been always IT innovative. I'm always happy to implement everything and try, because I'm already live also in that future. And
the industry needs innovators and early adopters like you. So congratulations on the approach. And
thank you so much.
I very much look forward to the next years and decades, what AI brings. And I think that's a very interesting time to be doing business, innovating, and working with amazing entrepreneurs here.
Awesome. So that's why I think that we today we discuss a little bit, but I think I will invite you for another podcast within the next time, and we can discuss what's news and changes, and we'll make it maybe sometimes constant. And it will be really great. And thank you so much. I appreciate that you come to me.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for invitation, Oleg, and let's make it again sometime soon.
Guys, subscribe on our YouTube channel. We invite always very interested guests. And if you are someone who is interested in innovation or you can tell something interesting, welcome to us. And I would be happy to speak with you. And we would like to make the world better and more digitalized, innovative. And we hope for best future. Thank you.
Thank you.